You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Podcast. I'm your host, Steph. It is Sunday, August 18th. The 49ers just finished their second preseason game, this time against the Saints, and this time they got the win. I must say, this was kind of a more entertaining game than the first one because I just feel like there were so many players that stood out in this one, and I can't wait to talk about it. First, let's talk about the guys that didn't play because that kind of sets up the guys that did play and us talking about that. So obviously, most of the starters did not play, but Brock Purdy played, Jake Brendel, Colton McKivitz, and Dominic Pooney, who I think at this point we're assuming is going to be a week one starter. He did play as well. The 49ers also did not play Jordan Mason in this game, and I have to assume that's because, maybe they feel like they can't risk any injury to Jordan Mason with Christian McCaffrey and also Elijah Mitchell nursing some injuries right now. So maybe they've seen enough from Jordan Mason. So I'm okay with him not being out there. D. Winters, it seems like he's dealing with a minor injury, according to Matt Barrows, so he did not play. I would have really liked to see D. Winters because I had some questions about him. Given the first preseason game performance, I was intrigued. I just wanted to see if he can improve on some of the things that we saw in that first preseason game. So we might have to wait another week for that. But as far as Brock Purdy and who did start out there, I will say the starting offensive line, maybe not too hot. They had left tackle Jalen Moore. At left guard, they had Nick Zakelj. At center, they had Jake Brendel. Right guard, Dominic Pooney. Right tackle, Colton McKivitz. And I just feel like Brock Purdy had some trouble finding guys open. There just didn't seem to be a lot of rhythm. He was... I don't really know. There was some pressure, I guess, but it didn't seem to affect Dobbs, who played behind the same offensive line and played with or throwing to the same receivers that Brock Purdy was. So I'm not really sure. There maybe was some misconnections at times, but it was just a weird performance from Brock Purdy. And I do have to say, early on, it just felt a little discombobulated, and maybe that's why Kyle Shanahan did keep him out there as long as he did. He was out there for, I think, 3 different drives. I know for many that felt like too many. I know we would have liked to see Brock Purdy have a better drive. Maybe that's what Kyle Shanahan wanted to see as well. But come on, in a preseason game, there's no reason to risk him getting hurt or something like that. And he did get hit a couple times in his 3 drives, so at least he didn't get hurt, right? So in the first going of the game, we saw a lot of Cody Schrader, who he wasn't really finding a lot of daylight there. Braden Willis also got a lot of action with the first unit, and also like spread evenly, I would say, throughout the game. They even had him lining up out wide at one point. I really feel like they trust Braden Willis, and they want to give him more responsibility, and these preseason games are a way to see what he can handle. And so far, I think the returns have been okay. I feel like he has been improving. If you guys recall training camp, I said, like, Braden Willis need to see more consistency. First week of camp wasn't too great. Second week of camp, he did better. He was stacking his days. Now he looks way more comfortable out there. So I'm glad he's getting those opportunities. And, I'd say Braden Willis, obviously a lock to make this roster. Now, same can't be said for Cam Latu, but I'll talk more about him in a bit. So, yeah. Brock Purdy, not the best showing. Dobbs, on the other hand, who played the entire second quarter, he was awesome. He started 7 of 7. He sprung off a couple of runs. I thought he did well playing within the structure of the offense, and also when he needed to, he used his athleticism to get yardage, and that was on full display once again from Joshua Dobbs. Just really, really fun. And I think we all appreciate that because it's the preseason and these games are boring as hell. But Josh Dobbs, he's, I mean, I don't know how you wouldn't like him. He's I don't know, a glimmering light in this preseason that we're experiencing here. So Dobbs finished 12 of 21. He threw quite a lot for the fact that he played the entire second quarter, like just one quarter. He threw 21 times, 12 of 21, 133 yards, an average of 6.3 yards per attempt or per catch. And he also had 3 carries, or like he ran the ball 3 times, 25 yards, and of course, a rushing touchdown. So I think we can all appreciate what Dobbs is doing out there. It's electric. It's exciting. It's something we want. I think it's something all fans want out of a backup quarterback. But this is where I have to caution people because I don't think that's what Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers want out of a backup quarterback. And I've talked about this before. I keep saying that I think the 49ers want like the high ceiling, or sorry, the high floor quarterback, the safe backup quarterback. And I think that's Brandon Allen. But like what Dobbs is doing is really fun. So like I'm just like, you got to keep him for the vibes, man. What are Brandon Allen's vibes? Huh? What are his vibes? I don't get any vibes from Brandon Allen. The vibes are with Josh Dobbs. And I really want him to make this roster. And if the 49ers want to keep Dobbs, they're going to have to keep him on the 53 because I'm sure the Vikings would be happy to take him back with the injury to JJ McCarthy, who's going to be out for the season now. So I think if you want to keep him, gotta make a spot for him on the 53. But that means someone else is probably going to lose their spot. So it'll be interesting what the 49ers do there. I know we all want Josh Dobbs to be QB2. I definitely would not hate it. He's definitely really exciting and all those things that I mentioned. I just feel like the 49ers are going to go with the boring and safe option, and that would be Brandon Allen. So I guess I'm just preparing myself and everyone else for a potential disappointment when Brandon Allen makes this roster as the QB2 and Josh Dobbs maybe doesn't, or he makes the roster but isn't the QB2. So just prepare yourself for that. But I do have to say, I think Dobbs did a great job of answering some questions or just kind of changing my thoughts on what the concerns were with him, because I think seeing him in the first preseason game, I thought, okay, like he's doing a lot of things out of structure and he looks great out of structure, could be better in the structure of the offense. This time I thought he looked really good within the structure. And when he needed to, like I said, when he needed to, he took his athleticism, into it and he made things happen. So I think that's something that would excite Kyle Shanahan, honestly, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. But Dobbs, I am definitely intrigued, and I would like for him to make this roster. I mean, if you have him make the roster, like who knows? Maybe you can flip him for a pick at some point. I don't know. Just a thought. I mean, dangle him in front of the Vikings. Why don't you? Don't give him for free. I mean, I don't know. Just a thought. All right, so Josh Dobbs, obviously one of the guys who, in my opinion, the arrow was up. Great game from Joshua Dobbs. And I thought the offense under Dobbs looked pretty good. We got to talk about Jacob Cowing. Jacob Cowing, holy cow. He looked great. I mean, he definitely got involved in this game, and I think that is by design. He didn't participate in the first preseason game because he had been nursing an injury. Most of training camp, he had been kind of in and out due to injury. And so even in training camp, I didn't really get that good of a look at Jacob Cowing as I would have liked. I know in the last couple of practices, the beat writers had been talking about Jacob Cowing looking good. So I was very much looking forward to this game and what Jacob Cowing was going to do. Well, now we know he caught 4 passes, 51 yards. He had that big one from Joshua Dobbs. I believe that was like 30 plus yards or something like that. 38 yards on that one. Looked like he beat his man pretty quickly on that one. He was able to create separation. He was targeted 5 times. He also had a carry. So that's the stuff I'm excited about. He hit that corner so fast. Like, he's outrunning dudes. That's going to be a weapon for Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers this year. 19 yards on that carry, and he just looked so fast. I think Kyle Shanahan is excited. He's excited to use Jacob Cowing. I'm excited to see Jacob Cowing get mixed in this offense because I do feel like he's going to be a weapon. He's going to be someone who they can kind of have in there to keep the defenses honest because he's so fast and because you can use him a variety of ways. And he looks very comfortable already. Like, this was his first game action in the NFL. He like I said, he didn't participate in the first preseason game, and he looks the part. All right. So really excited about Jacob Cowing, and definitely want to see more of him. But at the same time, it's like third preseason game. I don't mind if he doesn't play too much. I feel like I've seen enough from Jacob Cowing already, but he's a rookie, so he's going to get more opportunities for sure to get more acclimated. Now, Curtis Robinson on the defensive side, he was someone that I thought, second game in a row, I thought he did himself a lot of favors. He had, I think, 4 total tackles, according to ESPN. He had also the tackle for loss. He had what was it? He had the ball that he batted up in the air. Was that him or no? Am I thinking of someone else? Someone batted the ball up in the air. I don't know if it was Curtis Robinson. I meant to write that down, but someone in the comments will tell me who that was. He also had a quarterback hit though. He was just very, very solid. And I think, obviously the 49ers have experience with developing linebackers. Curtis Robinson seems to be, although I think he's a little bit older, but he seems to be someone who, plays the way that the 49ers would like. So, he's only in his 3rd season actually. So yeah, he's still pretty young. I would say that's a linebacker the 49ers developed. So yeah, they continue to do that in impressive ways. So good for him. And I also have to say, Darrell Luter, he was kind of quiet throughout the game when he was out there, but on that final drive where, Jake Hayner of the Saints, I mean, they were moving the ball. They were on their way to getting the game-winning drive there, and Darrell Luter almost single-handedly, or he did single-handedly keep that from happening. First, it was the big hit that he had on the receiver that dislodged the ball. That would have been a catch if he didn't hit that dude so hard. And then also, I know the commentator said it looked like he punched the ball out as well. So great awareness by Darrell Luter on that one. And then on the 4th and 7, that was pretty much the Saints' last chance to try to win the game, basically. He had tight coverage in the end zone, helped seal the win. So Darrell Luter, I think, definitely gave himself some nice opportunity there in this game. Tatum Bethune was another guy that I thought, once again, he did a lot. 10 total tackles, according to ESPN, from Tatum Bethune. That is after a good performance in the first preseason game as well. He had a tackle for loss. I liked what Jalen Graham was doing out there. He had a sack. And so the defense, they did pretty good. They were all right. Alex Barrett as well. He had 2 tackles for loss, a quarterback hit. He also had that strip sack. T.Y. McGill is someone who I think is going to be a really solid rotational defensive line guy. No sacks, but he did force pressure a couple of times that did get to the quarterback. So definitely liking what I'm seeing from T.Y. McGill. Dude, the punter Harvin. What's his first? Presley Harvin III. The dude's awesome. He's really good. He had 4 punts inside the 20. solid work from Presley Harvin. I keep wanting to call him Percy Harvin because it's the only other Harvin I know. Presley Harvin. He, it's going to be a shame when the 49ers have to cut him because they already have Mitch Wishnowsky. Unless, maybe, I don't know. I heard the commentators say that, or someone mentioned that Mitch Wishnowsky was holding the field goals for Moody. So he was out there, right? He was active. He's still working his way back from his injury. But I mean, Harvin looked good. He's going to get picked up right away when the 49ers inevitably have to cut him. So that'll be a shame because he's been a bright spot for this team, for the special teams this preseason. It's been kind of a surprise for him. But I think those are the guys. Oh, look, last arrow up player I'm going to talk about, Tanner Mordecai. He looked pretty good. At one point, he was 4 of 4 for 44 yards at the end of the game there. He was 4 of 6 to finish, so he had 2 incompletions after that. But I thought he looked good, and that's coming from someone who's dude, Mordecai, he sucks, man. But only because I didn't see too much of him in training camp, and what I did see was bad. But maybe he's a gamer, Sometimes guys just look better in game action, and Mordecai looked pretty solid today, considering he's playing with some third string receivers on this team. Pretty good. Not too bad. Let me get to some of these comments before I jump on over to the arrow down. I think you might have an idea who's in the arrow down column for me today. But what's going on, everyone in the comments? Appreciate all of you for showing up. What were you guys excited about in this game? Who was the arrow up for you guys? I do have to say, because Technic Chic mentions Pooney here. They say, funny thing about Pooney starting, Madden 25 has him a little better rated than Burford. Potential starter already. Madden knows something we don't. Madden knows. Or maybe it is something we do know at this point. Because I think Pooney is he should be the starter week 1. I see no reason why he shouldn't be. He definitely continued his strong streak. And he had another really good game, I thought, right? I'm going to watch Law 22, see how he did in the run game. Because I thought, in the first game, that was something he could have definitely improved on. But I thought he looked good in this one again. So Pooney definitely turning some heads and making a very, very strong case, an undeniable case, some might say, for that week 1 spot at right guard. Ty says Brock Purdy and Brandon Allen are battling for the QB2 spot. That's jokes, but yeah, I mean, Purdy just didn't look good today. I don't know. Dude misses Brandon Ayuk, clearly. I get it, though. I mean, a lot of the guys he usually plays with aren't there, but like I said, Dobbs did great with the same group of receivers and the same offensive line, so I don't really know. Could have just been he's not used to playing with those guys as much. But I mean, I'm not worried about Brock in the slightest. Technic Chic, Latu and Bell seem to have some drops again today. Spoiler alert, they're both on my stock down column. So yeah, and you guys agree that Josh Dobbs looks great. He looks good. Holy cowing. Yeah. Holy cowing. That's definitely going to be a thing this year if he keeps this up. And Technic Chic says that pass to cowing from Dobbs was beautiful. I mean, it was slightly behind, right? But it was in such a good spot that only cowing could get it. So you can't even be mad. You can't even be mad. And Cowing made a great adjustment, I thought, for that ball. He looked really good. Yeah, an offensive weapon. I'm really excited to see what Kyle draws up for Cowing. And by the way, as Technic Chic DM'd me during the game and pointed out that Clay Kubiak called plays in this preseason game. Yeah. So it was Kubiak against Kubiak because, of course, Clint Kubiak is the offensive coordinator for the Saints now. And so, yeah, maybe Kyle was doing him a favor, letting him call plays against his brother's team. But just some fun stuff. I think truly Kyle Shanahan thinks preseason is a big bore. And you have to imagine why that's the case. Yeah, 49er Media says Robinson should make the team now. I agree. I think Curtis Robinson. Oh yeah, okay. So it was Curtis Robinson who did have that. Yeah, he batted that pass up in the air. I wish like he noticed where the ball went. He might have come down with it too. But man, he had a great game. It just felt like he was everywhere in this one. Oh yeah, Jalen Graham definitely did some things. He was here and there involved, but yeah, he needs to improve. I agree. I do agree. I thought Tatum Bethune, I think, looks better so far. All right, let's get to the arrow down. All right. I was prepared to put the backup offensive line in arrow down, and you know what? I'm gonna do it anyway. And so I'm looking at guys like, Jalen Moore. I'm looking at Nick Zakelj, and I get it. Like Nick Zakelj kind of got thrust into left guard today because of injuries. Aaron Banks broke his pinky, so Zakelj left guard started there, and so he struggled a little bit and took him a bit to get going. Dude, Cole McKivitz is not even a backup offensive lineman, and he was making mistakes out there that I'm just like rookie mistakes. Come on, man. So, he's in midseason form. He definitely is. Arrow down on Brock Purdy, but like I said, like it was a bad performance for Brock. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat that. So arrow down, but I'm not worried about Brock. Don't worry about it. Trent Taylor. The arrow cannot be lower for Trent Taylor, to be quite honest with you. And I think what I saw in this game, in addition to the 49ers wanting to get Jacob Cowing so involved, I kind of saw that they wanted to get other guys involved in returns. You had Cody Schrader returning kicks. You had Jacob Cowing returning punts. I think literally the only thing that was Trent Taylor's saving grace to possibly making this team was the fact that he's the most reliable return guy. And I'm not even talking about reliable because he can shimmy some guys out of their shoes and get some yards and get like a return touchdown. I don't think he would ever get a return touchdown, but he can catch it. He can catch it safely. That's it. So, that's pretty much all he does, but he's been doing everything else so poorly that it's hard to justify him making a spot on this roster. And Jacob Cowing, the emergence of Cowing, I think all but assures that Trent Taylor will not be making this roster, in my opinion, because Cowing can return as well. And he looked comfortable returning. Cowing did. So yeah, I don't think there's much for Trent Taylor. There's not much going for him to make this roster. And I don't think that should be a surprise to anyone. I know what I said some weeks ago, that I thought he would make this roster. I didn't want him to make the roster. I just thought he would, just because of the return thing, because he was the most reliable guy. But if Cowing's going to be good, and he looked good, and he looked comfortable, he didn't look nervy or anything, I mean, why not? Okay, Trent. Thank you for your service. Ronnie Bell, another dude who, God, man, like, Ronnie Bell's a strange one, because in practice, he'll make these crazy grabs, like go up and get it, high pointers. And in both preseason games, he has just looked lost out there. He had several drops. There was one point where there was a clear miscommunication between him and Joshua Dobbs. And I know it was Ronnie Bell's fault, because Ronnie Bell, before the ball was even snapped, was looking at the sideline all confused, shrugging, I don't know what I'm doing. And then the ball gets snapped and he runs the wrong route. and Dobbs thought he was going to be somewhere else. So Ronnie Bell just, man, tough look for Bell, and I don't think he's going to make this roster either. So that's a shame. Again, with the emergence of Jacob Cowing, I think it pretty much solidifies that Bell's not going to make this roster. I wouldn't mind keeping him on the practice squad. I think that's something the 49ers would be open to, but strictly for emergency break glass in case of emergency situations would they bring him up, I think. Cam Latu, man, arrow down for me on Cam Latu. He had another drop. It just seemed like they were trying to involve him. Obviously he had 5 targets, 3 catches, 30 yards. They were trying to involve him, which, okay, fine. But we talk about other guys looking the part, Cowing, but Cam Latu does not. And he just doesn't look comfortable. And so he doesn't look like a tight end. Like, I don't know. I can't explain it, but Cam Latu, I don't see him making this roster, and I think it's for a pretty good reason. We now have plenty of preseason tape, and two games worth this year to make that call. So yeah, those are the guys that are arrowed down. The good news is, I think in this game, like I said, there was way more positives than negatives, and the 49ers won. So I thought it was pretty good. As far as some of the things that improved from the previous week, I thought tackling did improve. There were still some, some misses here and there. Like Malik Mustafa had a total whiff, and that was near the goal line. So that was weird. Mustafa didn't have as strong a game as he did in the first preseason game, but I still like him as a player. And yeah, I just came away impressed with a number of different guys, and I think that's a pretty good thing. So this was a pretty solid showing from the team today. And as always, on Mondays, I'm going to be breaking down the best performances, but we're also going to vote for 49K Player of the Week tomorrow with Weston, my Monday co-host. That will be airing live on YouTube, 4 p.m. Pacific. And just so you guys don't miss that, make sure you have notifications on for me so you know when I go live. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet so you know when I go live. That'd be a start. Make sure you like this video if you haven't yet. Appreciate all of you. I'm about to hit the sack. I'm about to go to sleep after this. It's 9:35 in Colorado right now, so I'm about to get in bed like the 30-year-old that I am. But for now, have a good rest of your Sunday, folks. Peace.